5:30, if you would, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the minutes from the last meeting, the April 24th regular meeting to approve. We have had a chance to take a look at the minutes. Anybody have any questions or comments? Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And under fiscal business, we have the fiscal officer's report. Linda?
Yes, sir. The board's received updated monthly revenue and fund and appropriation funds and fund status reports. And just to read into the, as we do every month, read into the record that we have $13,547,714.25 in our investment and checking accounts.
Very good. Anybody have any questions for Linda about that information? Moving on to the current bills, we have had a chance to take a look at the current bills. Anybody have any questions about the current bills? Is there a motion to pay the bills as presented?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we have an oath of office to administer, and to welcome Matthew Clark, if you would, please. Come right over in front if you don't mind. Thank you very much. If you would, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name,
I, Matthew Clark,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties,
required as an administrator for Clearcreek Township,
the duties as required as an administrator for Clearcreek Township,
Warren County, State of Ohio,
Warren County, State of Ohio,
to which office I have been appointed
to which office I have been appointed
according to the law and the best of my ability
according to the law and the best of my ability
during my continuance in office.
during my continuance in office.
Here, now, Matt, let me give you some more so I don't.
Welcome.
Okay, now we have a public hearing. I'd like a motion to recess the regular meeting and open the public hearing with resolution 5018. And this is the resolution requesting the rezoning of 1.724 acres identified by the parcel number as identified on the agenda from neighborhood business B1 to mixed-use plan unit development MUPUD. Jeffrey?
Right, sir. The property is also identified by.
So moved.
We're ready to go.
Second.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And now, Jeff.
All right. We don't do these every week, so we get these. All right. This property is also identified as 1664 East State Route 73 for purposes of anyone who's not aware where the property is located. This is about 7348, and we are east of that location. The property has been zoned B1 since 1978. To the north, there's a B2 zoning classification. To the east, R1. To the south, B1 PUD, R1, and to the west, B2. In 2006, the property owner came through and did a modification to the basement area, in which they created what was considered a 24-hour lounge area for the business on the first floor. Sometime after 2006, that residential area became an independent use from the business area on the first floor, and in 2016, when the property was first put on market for sale, it was advertised as a Class A office space with a custom-built residence. At the point in time, zoning was aware that we had an issue of non-compliance with two activities occurring. Talking with the realtor and the agent for the property owner, and the company, this would be a property that would be utilized for the new zone classification of mixed-use planning development. When you look at the 2005 land use plan, we do not have mixed use identified at all because it's something that only occurred in 2014 update to our PUD section. At that time, they thought it probably would be appropriate at some point as we evolve to have some type of mixed commercial and residential, either in a PUD or in a structure in the township. So what you actually see this evening is an as-built or a stage 3 kind of activity as opposed to a stage 1, the purpose that the property owner is not modifying the structure, not adding additional structures, so what you see is what you get with this PUD. You have 48% open space, you've got 70 by 50 main building, a 30 by 40 accessory building, equating to 7,000 square foot or 0.89 acres of impervious surface for the site. And when this was looked at Warren County Regional Planning, they thought, based upon its location to the outer boundary of our commercial node, that this is the last property east before we hit the blue area in the land use plan, that having a transition or a step down in classification is typically thought to be appropriate. That's why the B1 was an appropriate activity there. But having this proximity to residents, thought that this was also an appropriate mixed use area. So when regional planning put forth the 5 conditions, it's the same 5 conditions that the zoning commission put forth that you have on the resolution. The resident component be limited to single family occupancy, limited to the lower floor of the structure, compliance with all township, county, state, and other agency requirements, compliance with Warren County Combined Health Department, and retaining buffered landscape areas along the western and eastern property lines. So with that, I can answer questions of the requester.
Anybody have any questions?
The residents in the main building, the bottom of the main building?
Yes, the main building is where all the residents' activity is, and is in the basement or the lower level as you look at it. There's storage is occurring in the detached garage, but there's not occupancy of single family in that structure.
Any other questions?
I don't have any.
Is this Mr. Dart?
I'm actually Steve Hanna. I'm representing Mr. Dart.
Okay, please, if you have any comments.
I prepared to provide the background that I did at the first meeting. If that would be a benefit. If it's not needed, then, okay.
Yeah, I think it's pretty
I think it's
straightforward.
pretty straightforward to us,
You.
and- yeah.
Thank you.
At this point, if any further comments before we adjourn the,
Just give the opportunity for and against, since we do have a
Yeah.
couple more people in the audience.
yes, anybody have any comments about this zone change, for or against? Hearing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting?
So moved. Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And with that, is there a motion to approve or deny 5018?
I will make a motion to approve. Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, and under news business, we have road department monthly report. Scott?
Yes, sir, I can answer any questions if you have any, or kind of just transferring over and getting rolling, so it's a little, kind of a short one this time.
Okay.
I like the little trivia in the monthly.
I try to find something every time.
I would not have known that.
I actually knew about Alaska, but the other 3 I didn't know.
Any questions for that monthly report? Moving on to a request for conditional hire for 2 seasonal road crew persons.
Yes, sir, this is what we do every year. We actually were trying to target 3 this year to allow them a little more, enjoy their summer. We're having trouble getting people is what we're doing. So we were actually shooting for 3. We may still try to eventually find another one, but they don't want to work the hours. 35 hours is too many hours for them in the summer. So we, last year we had talked with Jack and he wanted to raise it a little bit because it's been at $9 for a long time, for years and years. We're starting to lose competitiveness to the surrounding areas. So something to look forward, think about moving into next year. But so we are just asking for the 2. We have 2 coming back for next year, and next year
Last year, we got 2 back from last year.
they're already we've got 2 coming back, and 2 are waiting to get out of high school. So hopefully we'll get them for 2 years, and but next year we're hoping to move it to 5 so we can cover a little more ground, and we've got additional mowing and stuff. Just so you know, for next year moving in, that'll probably be the mindset.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to have Scott offer to hire David Chase Rich at $9 an hour and Erie Tobias Turner?
Are we offering to hire, or this is a conditional
It's
hire?
conditional based on background and drug test.
Right,
Okay.
so we don't have to wait after that to get him approved, so I'll make that motion.
Second?
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Got away with that in one motion.
I was listening, I'm just getting a liberal in my age, that's all
Right.
age, that's all.
Anything else?
Think about it.
Hopefully that proceeds.
Okay, moving on to the fire district and the monthly report. Okay.
Standard format, just a couple of highlights there. Joe Schubert completed his 8-week firefighter level 2 training at the Ohio Fire Academy, so we're proud of him. Had a pretty 8-week intense training program. Had a couple of significant structure fires in the month of April, one on Poplar Grove and another one Stanton Drive. Pretty high dollar losses, but the crews did an excellent job in managing that. And call volume continues to remain steady and ahead of last year, running about almost not quite 2 weeks ahead of where we were last year at this time.
Wow. Anybody have any questions for Tim about the monthly report? And we also have a pay increase for firefighter, paramedic, Robert Burkhart.
Correct. Firefighter Burkhart just received his annual performance appraisal and met all the job requirements. And as a result of that, he's qualified for his annual step raise and would recommend that he receive that appropriate adjustment.
Okay, so a motion to approve the salary increase for the annual step raise for Rob Burkhart. So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay?
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. And I went right by planning and zoning.
Okay, I thought it was just me. I thought I
No.
wasn't listening.
I saw it in the book, but I said fire first, so I
No trouble at all. I can answer questions.
Go with it.
Please.
do that. You've been busy.
Yeah, we're up in single family, and as you can see at the back page, Country Creek, which has been topic of many conversations in Redline, finally came through for preliminary, so they were at regional planning 2 weeks ago. So I'm sure they'll have a final plat probably before summer hits.
Did it go well at regional planning?
Yep, Lori was actually present. I was not. I was on
Okay.
vacation that week, but she said that they were amenable to the conditions that were put forth. So yes, pretty straightforward.
Good. Okay. Police district? Monthly report.
Monthly, I'll try to answer.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Busy. Anybody else? Okay, we do have resolution 5019, a resolution accepting a donation from Rocco Serio?
I'll butcher it too, I don't know how. He's, last couple of years, this gentleman came in and donated money to us. Again, he came back this year and donated $1,000. Safety Town is getting ready to start next month. We still have pretty much all the hard items purchased, don't need anything really except for some replacement items here or there, coloring books, stickers, badges, things that we give the kids. As part of that process that they write on, expend every year that we have to renew when they practice their address and so forth. We utilize material to do that, so we'll fill some of these funds to replace some of that stuff. So just would ask the board to accept his donation of $1,000, and we thank him for making the most.
Is there a motion to approve 5019 and accept this donation?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay?
Mr. Mearsclaw? Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we have revisions to the general orders manual. Chief, you want to tell us what's going on with that?
Sure, it's been our practice to always run our order changes through the board, and we've become accustomed to CALIA and having to make tweaks here and there. We also have to comply with the Ohio Collaborative now, which is a statewide thing similar to CALIA, but kind of the mini-me of that. It's just starting off and starting to grow, and we expect that will eventually be mandatory and for compliance and stuff. So looking back at some of our issues, we had a use of force issue and a recruitment issue. that the collaborative required us to take a test about the use of force specific to just the collaborative, so we had to readdress that in our policy. And under recruitment, we have to take a test if we go out and recruit people. They want to make sure we're utilizing our people recruit policy, getting all the various nationalities and various age issues and things like that. So just a cleanup of those two policies is what I'm asking for. Ask the board to give us permission to do.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the chief about these revisions? Hearing none, is there a motion to agree to allow these revisions to be completed?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw? Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Okay, and we have a request to make application for a matching funds grant through the Ohio Community Police Relations Grant.
Rolling out of the collaborative, which I just mentioned, is back when the issue of community relations between police and the public was an issue, the governor went around the state and created various seminars to talk and get input from the public. And so they're rolling some grant money in behind that now, and you have to be a member of the collaborative, which we are now, and we passed the testing process in order to apply for some of these grants that are rolling out of the collaborative. So there's an incentive now to try to get police departments into that and to maintain that status. From that, they rolled out of the Office of Criminal Justice, the Ohio Community Police Relations Grant Program. It's been our practice to ask the board to apply for grants. We'd like to apply for this grant. It's up to $40,000 with a 25% match. And my intent would be is to look at paying for the employee expense of National Night Out and Safety Town. That fits within one of the categories. I don't know if they'll let us go retroactive back. So we've got to do some legwork, but I need to be able to apply for it to get some of that done. Sergeant Stacy watched the webinar the other day on some of the application of it and so forth. So we're hoping we can maybe get some of that to offset some of those costs in the future. So that's what I'm looking for is the approval to apply for the grant for those purposes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for the chief about this? Is there a motion to allow the police department to apply for this grant?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. Anything else from the police department, chief? No, sir. Okay. Moving on to administration, we have resolution 5020, a resolution declaring the maintenance of 329 Chapel Drive constituting a nuisance.
This is actually a new nuisance before you. High grass. They do have some issues with their concrete drive. If you have just like a sinkhole in your driveway, it's an odd thing, but that would be a future issue if we were concerned about that. What we're trying to focus on initially is the vegetation. According to the neighbors, they took care of the property all of last year.
Is this vacant?
Yes, it is. And they would like some help this year, so that's why we're starting off.
I don't blame you. Okay, is there a motion to approve 5020?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we also have 5021 with, again, maintenance for constituting a nuisance at 1185 Jarvis Lane.
Yeah, this is a problem child, yes.
Greatest
This
hit.
is every year, so it's a repeat offender, you could say.
So a motion
Distress.
to approve 5021.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we also have a motion with 5022, and again, maintenance that constitutes a nuisance at 184 Glen Ridge.
Now, this one is a combination of a vegetation nuisance, and it also appears to be a dumping site for asphalt and concrete from some of the builders. So I'm not sure how much of that exists until the grass is cut down, and that can be then determined. So, but this resolution is for cleanup though.
Okay. Very good. Is there a motion to approve 5022?
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yay. And we also have resolution 5023, which is a motion to determine maintenance of 2524 West State Route 122, that it constitutes a nuisance also.
Yeah, we had storm damage a little over a year ago in which a tree fell on a boat that was on the trailer on this property.
Okay, with
They
that-
continue to mow the grass, but they have not moved this boat, so we're trying to go through as this request to declare it as debris garbage, since it is in a damaged state, as opposed to going through the junk vehicle, since it doesn't meet that definition, but it does meet this definition, and request that it be removed off-site, or then we would remove it off-site.
Mr. Palmer briefed me on this and told me that it was apparently inoperable.
Yeah, it's damaged. I don't know why they didn't take care of it when they took care of the tree, but.
It hadn't moved 7 years previous to the tree hitting it.
Yeah, it had been there as storage, so.
I brought this to Jeff, as we go through this process with on the red line area, and we now have a beautiful United Dairy Farmers that's being utilized by our residents. They have to walk out the door of that and look at this mess that sits across the street from it, so it's a speedboat that sits in front of the nursery right there, so.
There we have it.
Time to go.
And with that bright yellow, it's like you can't ignore it. If it was white, you might be able to ignore it.
Just looks awful and
Yep. It does.
is what it is.
Is there a motion to approve 5023?
I'll make that move.
Second.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Yeah. Okay, anything else under staff updates? If I have anything that you'd like to bring up under staff updates?
I asked Mr. Palmer to look into further the effort to control marijuana cultivation and dispensaries by way of both zoning control as well as legislation from the board, and Mr. Palmer is going to lay out a timeline for us to address the zoning component of it that can run in conjunction with what the board's gonna do. It's just a timing thing, but it is a process that does take quite a few meetings, so I've asked him to investigate it and go down that road.
I did talk to the city, and I don't know if you've talked to them or had a chance to talk to them about it yet. They are, I forget what we called it, they're in their second, what?
Second reading?
Second reading. Mhm. No,
Okay.
no, second temporary.
Oh, the moratorium.
Oh, moratorium.
Second moratorium. There we go. But they're not gonna do another one.
Yeah, it is.
So, as you suggested.
Yeah, after a while, they become unlawful.
Yes. So, I expect that they'll be moving forward, and we might touch base with them, Jeff, and see what they're gonna do. Just curious to, I think they have the same, I'm not gonna speak for them, but probably.
Yeah, we'll talk with them.
A similar idea that we had.
Okay. And what I thought, since it's gonna take a 4-month timeline to do a text amendment, and something that I can have available for you next week starting, but then we haven't initiated the next trustees meeting because we need to meet a beginning of the month deadline for regional planning so that we can get into their process, then we get to a zoning commission public hearing, so that then we can come to a trustee public hearing, just as we did tonight with the rezoning, and then it would sit for 30 days. Is to also, there's been updates with regards to sexually oriented business, that we need to update our code, and we have some minor tweaks occurring with agritourism to do. So I thought that would probably be a good rolling of those 3 events into one resolution, if that's acceptable for you guys.
Absolutely.
Cool, then we'll have more coming, but if you have any direction, I'm happy to take it this evening. If not, as you look at the drafts, we can tweak as we go.
Sounds fine.
I think Matt's got some experience from Deerfield, so we can certainly tap into that.
Very good. Okay, now we do have some individuals here that would like to make some public comments on the situation involving their property. Mr. Gibbs is here. Mr. Gibbs, you want to come up? And when you come up to the microphone, if you would, just give us your name and your address. Since we record these, it needs to go into the record, please.
My name is Driscoll Gibbs, Briskol Gibbs. I'm sure they can spell that.
And what's your
Anyway,
what's your address, please?
7328 Larkspur Court,
Thank you.
and I've got a water problem, big problem. Trying to get some action on it. They just keep kicking the can down the road. So I'd like to see some action.
Yeah, I've talked to Pete about this and been down there a couple times and met with the county engineer out there. And by the way, the health department did call me back today.
What do you have to say?
He said he still does not see any fluid that is not appropriate, and no dark fluid, is what he said. That was the second time they've been there.
He's there Friday, I believe it was, Thursday or Friday.
Right, and so he called me back, I think Friday,
Yeah.
but regardless, doesn't matter. So he
Right.
didn't see anything, so he did tell me that if you, in the future, see any dark liquid coming out of there, you should call them again, and they'll come right out and check it. But at this point, they believe that they feel confident that the septic system is working properly.
He said he thought the septic system, but he didn't know what the dark stuff was.
They did say that there was some settlement down in the pool below that, and he said, I think it's just sand type settlement that comes out of those. He said, I saw nothing that I could test that would
I don't
be
think he wanna
inappropriate.
drink it. I don't think he wanna take a drink of it.
Well, no,
But that's supposed to be clear enough to say,
yeah.
for you to drink.
I'm not doing their job. That's up to the health department.
Well,
And if you don't like what's happening, you need to call the health department back.
well, I'll do that, but
That's
I don't
good.
like
And he
what I've
did-
been getting from you guys.
He did suggest that, if you see anything like that, call him back.
Now, the water and soil guy, Mr. Pettit, I believe it is,
Okay.
he said he'd see what he could do too. So he's concerned about it.
Now, you're talking about the septic or the
No,
water? Yeah.
the whole thing as a whole.
Has he been out there recently? Or
Yes,
this-
he's there this last week.
Good. Is that the first time he's been there?
Oh, no. He was there when you and I was there.
I didn't think so.
He's the one that fell when he stepped across the creek.
Okay.
He went in over his shoes and the place formed. So, and that creek is not where it's supposed to be. So somebody had to approve the creek, which I've got the prints here. I've got the information. I'd like for these other guys to see it as well. I mean, this one man, Dylan, don't get it done. That's the reason we got three. So let's.
I have told Pete on a number of occasions, though, that there was nothing that we could legally do to go in there and spend money on it. That's why I got the county engineer involved, and evidently he's chosen not to go in and spend money there also. And it was a design, Pete believes there's a design issue there, and it's not right, it's not good. It's not good, it's a mess.
You better believe it, it's a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess.
If you had to live with it, it'd be a bigger mess.
Yeah, no, I can't argue with that, Pete.
But anyway, there's a 30-foot easement down through there. 15 feet on my side, 15 on the other guy's side, where he just built. I get all the water that's dumped off. I get all the water from above. And the time we began to question that, and the letter came out, see if some of the other property owners would give to let something happen on their property. Who owned them properties at the time? Bob Abernathy.
Abernathy, yeah.
And then you say something about the engineer said he'd get in contact with him,
And try
tell him how to go about getting rid of those lots up through
Then I
there?
think what the engineer said, he was there, you talked to him. He said he would talk to him and see if he could get him to come in and do any work on that to make it better.
Well, Jack did that.
Well, the
When Jack was here,
engineer
Jack, he
the engineer did
contacted
the
him.
same thing.
When Jack got a hold of him, first thing Abernathy said, back off, it has not one thing to do with you, but.
Well, I think
And then
that-
a little later on, Mr. Abernathy called him back. He said, well, maybe there is something I could do. Well, they got engineers in there, or surveyors, but there's nothing never done about it. It's still at a
obvious.
standstill.
Yeah.
And, it sound like they're working more with the developers than they are the homeowners, is what it appears to me.
Who's they? Who are you talking about?
Everybody that has to go through township and
Doesn't
county.
Doesn't come through the township.
Well, now the letter, I believe, said it's the township's responsibility.
Well, let's see then.
But it'd be hard to get them to do it.
as I told Pete the other day.
You got a copy of this, but you're not a carbon copy of it, a Xerox copy of it. Whether you got it or not, I don't
I
know.
don't recall it, Pete, but did you give it to me or to Jack?
So the first board could the board could contact Township on the owner's behalf to see if the Township can do something to increase the storm sewer capacity. If that's the problem, or otherwise make changes and divert the water away from the homeowners. Lot, my guess is that the township will not be willing to make any changes unless changes are a part of some other project that is ongoing or planned. Of course, the storm system, sewer system is the property of the township.
Who is that letter from?
That's from the homeowners association's attorney. He's the right. And this Joe Ellis is one of the township.
But it clearly says that he doesn't expect that we would do anything.
No,
And there's a
it's-
reason for that.
You ain't gonna do nothing, it's forced to you.
Well,
And why should you have to force something when you know it's your responsibility?
see, as I've said to you before, Pete, I don't think we can legally go in and spend public money on that type of thing. Now, do I agree that it's a mess? Yes, I think it is. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Well, here's a.
Make sure we get a copy of that before you leave, so Mac and our attorney can, in fact, why don't you give it to Jeff?
Yeah, I'll make a copy while you guys are talking.
Matt, do you have any words of wisdom for Pete? You went down and looked at it.
Well, the stormwater infrastructure that he's talking about with regard to the culvert particularly, that is up against the road. But that's not where the problem is. The problem is somewhere along that creek line that's on Mr. Gibbs'
And down in,
property.
down along the road.
About halfway down that property line, it diverts from where it pretty clearly once ran. How that happened, I don't know. I
Well,
couldn't
I
get to
got
speak
the
to
note
it.
on the print.
But, you know, so the point in his letter about the stormwater infrastructure being ours, it's probably in the right of way. But that's not where the problem is. The problem is further upstream.
This is from Mr. Abenaki. This year, this change was made on 7/28/2000. And the note's right here on the print, per Mr. Abenaki. And the guy that was the engineer,
Jerry Stiles.
he wrote this on 7/28/2000. And he died in December. Like I said, the guy probably turned over in his grave to see the mess that was made in there.
Well, and I must say that when I saw that, I thought getting the county engineer out there would accomplish what we needed to do, that he would go in and fix that.
Well, the water and soil,
Yep.
they said that creek, you ditch it out or whatever, it's gonna keep deteriorating, coming in, and it keeps washing down there. He made it's not even graded right, it wasn't graded right to begin with. And the engineer did say they'd make a nice little pond. That water wouldn't make, that soil wouldn't make a pond. But he made it automatically because the drain comes right into the pond, into the little, what he'd like to have. But here's what we're confronted with. I've got pictures of it.
May I make copies of everything you got there, Mr. Gibbs?
Yes, you can. You want the letter too? Okay.
Actually, is
And
this
then
the
right
letter
here
that
is-
Jeff just made a copy of?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got that one.
Okay.
And the subdivision plan that you were showing me.
Yeah, you should have this one up here.
We've got this one?
You should have it.
Okay.
Well, Jack's the one who gave it to me.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And the engineer also said the cover down there under Ronald Hill was too small. The one under 73 here, he said was really too small. And there's easements going in every direction here.
Right.
I've got the prints here, all of them kind of marked out. Dumping stuff down there. They've got two ponds between me and my place down there.
Right.
One fills up here, it dumps into the creek, the other, and it runs on down into the other one, and now that thing's all broke away and growed up, which is a safety hazard that
It's a mess.
some kid ever gets in there looking for one of them, cattails, or trying to fish, falls in there. If he's by himself, you'll never know what happened to the kid. That pond was 12 foot deep, I've been told.
Looks deep.
I got down there trying to clean the creek out the other day. I had my knee boots on. I was sunk in, I couldn't get out. I had to step, it was a good thing I had the knee boots on, but I had to come out of the knee boots and step out barefooted, in soft feet.
Stuck in there, yeah.
I said, I'm not fooling with it anymore. It ain't worth it. That was a man made, created by man, and it was Mr. Abernathy that did it.
I can't argue with you.
So it appears as they try to leave everything up to the homeowner to take care of what he messes up. And that's, sound like I hear people, other people complain, but
Okay.
that's their end of it. If you want to see more prints,
I'm sure,
and you want to see the easement, they're all right here.
I'm sure Matt will take another look at it, and see if there's any way that we can do anything. And maybe we can contact the engineer again, see if we can get him to do anything, which I think really should be working on it, as I said. But
I need to talk to Mr. Patty about a different issue as well, so I'll make certain to circle back with him about it, obviously, since he has worked on it.
okay, that's good. That's good.
Now, you want to see the other print, the original print, so it's supposed to be?
I think
I
probably.
went and got that before I came here.
these-
I went to the courthouse.
I expect that you have, let's let Matt take a look at them. Do you have those?
I'll get a look at it.
Take a look at them, Pete, and let him see them, so if he doesn't have them, he can get a copy of them.
There we go. Got a 15-foot. Yeah, and usually got one if you're on 73. You got a 20-foot easement down through here. I think it is.
That's the record plan we got.
You got this?
Yes.
Oh, since it's Stone Ridge.
Thank you.
I was trying to figure out what subdivision.
Anything else on
I'll
that?
talk to Mr. Petty and follow up with him about it. We've got to talk about another issue that's unrelated to it. I'll talk to him, pick his brain, see where he is on it. Maybe get him to keep moving on it.
Well, the guy from the health department told me the other day, they have to get the county engineers and the township trustee, or the county trustee, engineers and township trustees together. And sit down,
You mean the county commissioners, you mean?
Huh?
You mean the county commissioners or the trustees?
well, I've not got to the county commissioners yet, that was gonna be my next step.
Well, I'll work with Mr. Petty first of all.
Yes,
Before we
right.
start going up the food chain.
Step at a time.
Thank you, Mr. Gates.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Pete.
You're welcome.
Anybody have anything else? Bring anything up? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Come on up.
I'm here to speak for Mr. Gibbs. I'm Joe Ellis from the Stonebridge Homeowners Association. I was newly elected about a year and a half ago, been busy. Mr. Gibbs contacted me about a year and a half ago, soon after I got involved, and showed me the problems that he's having down there. You know, 20 years ago, they did lay out an easement on his property, and the easement's not doing what it's supposed to do because the water is running off onto his property, and I think 20 years of development, you got 2 or 3 more new houses that's been developed down there. It's creating a much larger issue than what they envisioned years ago. I looked into it, and the only thing we can do as a homeowners association is clean the 1 12-foot pond out that he was talking about, and we're in the process of getting that ready to go. We have to send a letter, which we've done to the property owners. We're gonna lien the property after we get the work done, because we've tried for 2 years to get that cleaned up. That will solve one little bit of his problem, and that being when it floods, there's an awful lot of reeds and debris that comes down that ditch and onto his property, and it's laying out there right now. So we're gonna do that as an HOA board. But I looked into the situation a little bit, and the township trustees could actually petition the county commissioners, and that's under Ohio Revised Code 613104, for an improvement down there. And I'm gonna ask as a homeowners association if the trustees would see fit to at least petition for the county commissioners to do something about it. I think if we did that in writing and legally, we might get something done, because they don't wanna do any more than you do as trustees or we do as a HOA, because we can only do so much. But I think if we set the ball in motion correctly and legally, we might get a little bit of help from them. And it's been 20 years, and they did put an easement down there, so they had to think back then that there could be some possibilities, and now we have the problem. So if you would look into that, I would appreciate it as a member of the board of HOA at Stonebridge, and just as a citizen of Springboro here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll have Counselor and Matt look into it, attorney,
Okay.
and see if there's anything that we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Elton, my grandfather used to own that property, and I will tell you, when I was a little girl, that was the creek we played on that fed into Stinger's Lake,
Is that right?
and it flooded back then. So, I'm 57 years old, and I can tell you that for at least 60 years, that's been flooded down in that area. It's a lot of water, because everything comes down to that spot.
That's probably
So-
why they put an easement there for
'Cause they knew it
some
was
sort of
gonna happen.
an improvement for a ditch or something to go down
Right.
through there instead of
30
letting it take its natural
30
course.
feet. The 30-foot easement there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody have anything else to bring before the trustees tonight? Okay, hearing nothing, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second?
Mr. Mearsclaw?
Yay.
Mr. Gabbard?
Yay.
Mr. Wade?
Okay.